I also make an appearance in this live stream. Stick with me with that. I also make an appearance. These people don't understand because they haven't lived it. I lived it. My dad was a high value man. Nobody talks to my father now. Oh, we are going to get into this. This is what Rollo completely falls down the cliff on. All right, what's going on, everybody? Today, we're going to be going over last night's live stream with Fresh and Fit with special guests Destiny and Sneako, and they were talking a lot about Rollo. Now, the Rollo Tomassi, the Grandmaster of RedPill. Now, if you guys watch my channel intro, you guys know I am not RedPill. I at one point considered myself RedPill, but with how much they disrespect the other sex, like women, is just too far. I believe there is a set of gender roles and things like that, but that's a video for another time. I just can't get down with this side of RedPill. So, and it seems like Sneako is kind of waking up to that as well. And Sneako has really been going on sort of a little bit of a character arc when it comes to RedPill, and I guess learning that it is not really conducive to being a father, being a good father, having fathership qualities. And I'll probably tell a little bit more about my story and my upbringing as a kid, and how that really high value man really doesn't coexist with fathership very well. So I'll probably get into that another time. But this is what the main topic is about. Rollo Tomassi put out this tweet. Obviously, I'm not going to get into it because if you guys are watching this video, you guys have seen the tweet, and you guys know that vasectomies are the biggest, I guess, just hook point for Sneako, and why he really doesn't agree with this, and it's really kind of taking him aback. Now, I do believe that Rollo messed up here, in all honesty. I really believe that he knows he messed up, but because he is the grandmaster of all of this, of RedPill, and he really can't go back on what he said, because that'll just make him look softer, right? And RedPill is not about soft. You got to stick to your beliefs, and stuff. There's no space for nuance and things like that. So I really want to get into the debate. We're going to skip ahead to the debate with Rollo, Destiny, and Sneako, and watch Rollo, and we're going to go through and watch Rollo kind of crumble in his own words.
Tuesday of last week, you guys had Brandon Carter on. Is that with Derek Moneyberg? Or was that Monday? Monday. Sorry, let me get my camera back up there. So Monday, you guys were talking to Brandon Carter. One of the things that Brandon was talking about was you got to love money. You got to be on top of your game. And I love Brandon Carter, by the way. I think he should be a stand-up comedian. I mean, the guy is that funny. He's a great guy, right? But when you guys are on that show and you're talking to him, and he's talking about how he doesn't go to he doesn't go to Publix, doesn't go grocery shopping for himself. He doesn't go do his own laundry. He doesn't have a car. I mean, it's Brickle White, but he doesn't have like some basic stuff, because his philosophy in life is that anything that takes him away from his grind, anything that takes him away from anything that would distract him, or that would be financially or mathematically not a pragmatic choice for him to make, as far as like if he's spending time going grocery shopping or going and getting food for himself or whatever.
This is my biggest gripe with RedPill, and this is not even the crux of the argument, and we'll get into it soon. The fact that RedPill people believe that you going out and buying groceries and having some self-accountability and responsibility and just living your life and like doing things that normal people do. I know you, as a high value man, you're not normal, right? You don't consider yourself normal, but doing everyday things like doing your laundry, cleaning your room, and doing groceries takes you away from your grind. That to me tells me that you just don't want responsibility. You don't want, and you'll see as later on in this video, you'll see how much RedPill, and throughout my channel, I'm going to be exposing how RedPill is so contradictory to each other. They are the biggest victims in the world, yet they claim that they are like the most superior beings on earth as males. It doesn't make any sense. And you can really correlate a lot of this stuff in other political ideologies as well. it's just the same thing over. Like feminism is the same way, where where hardcore feminists believe that they are the victims of the world, but yet they are somehow the most superior beings and that they are the most special ones. It's just a non-negotiable fight between, and non-ending fight between these two different sides. And the fact, I mean, just look at this argument. The fact that it's doing groceries is taking away from his grind is ridiculous. You're telling me you don't have the responsible ability to go out if you're hungry and go get some groceries? You're going to have some girl, some wife do it who you don't even consider you don't want to be too in love with? Like, it doesn't, we'll get into it.
Or else I'm sure he's like into meal prep and everything else. But pretty much everything in his life is outsourced, because anything that he would be spending that time himself to go do, he could be losing money doing that at that time.
Ridiculous.
So when I was listening to this, and I was thinking about this myself, because I was actually at the same time, I'm like, helping a friend move and all this.
By the way, Rollo Tomassi does not even live like that much of a high value life compared to other people's standards, his own standards. He's been married 27 years, and I'm sure that he does a lot of things with his wife that RedPill people, including Myron and Fresh, do not consider to be high value characteristics. So that's something where they differ, but they'll never disagree with the Grandmaster.
And I'm thinking about this. I'm going, you know what? If you want to be a high value man, if you want to get to that apex level as fast as you can, that's it. How is that not the best way to go about it? Okay. So the point of that whole tweet, which was basically a throwaway tweet that everyone started like snowballing into something else. I've got Ben Shapiro coming at me. I got Matt Walsh coming at me. I got Lauren Chen coming at me. I got all these people off of Daily Wire because it was just easy, low hanging fruit for these guys, because they think that that's what the fucking manosphere is all about. And it's not. Okay. That was not fucking advice. Everything that is on Twitter is not advice.
Remember those words. Remember those words. He said it wasn't advice. Remember those words.
Okay.
Was that a joke?
No, it was not to say a joke, but it's like, let's just say it's a hypothetical. Okay. It's
what?
showing you. Now, listen, hypothetical is. For just 5 seconds. Okay. This is no
That's not even a hypothetical either. I don't think he really knows what a hypothetical means.
Joke here, because everything that's come out of both of you guys' mouth has been nothing but distraction and misdirection, because it's easy clicks for you. So here's the whole thing. When I'm talking about get a vasectomy, or don't be concerned with
when he's mad, his glasses get uneven on his nose. You see? Let
him finish. Okay. I'm really mad about this, bro.
Shall we keep going? Are we just gonna have jokes thrown in here?
Really heated about this.
Is that what I get to? Is that what I get to do it? Okay, so here's the deal.
Go ahead.
When I'm talking about this, when I'm throwing this out there, why wouldn't you do that? Would you not have been more successful, Sneako, had you not had to go through certain things? If you had a kid right now,
advice or not?
You would be playing the game with a handicap. So here's okay. First off, this is not advice. Everything that is on my show or is on Twitter is not automatically advice. Now, but here's the thing. I know what you're gonna say, because here's the deal. When I was on whatever podcast I was telling this, I was saying exactly the same thing here, is that everything that comes out of somebody's mouth on Instagram or on Twitter or on a YouTube.
He was on whatever podcast and got destroyed by Farha single-handedly. I mean, Farha, I don't agree with Farha a lot of her beliefs, but she demolished all those Red Pill guys, including Jay Waller, who seems like a likable guy, but completely off in his views too.
There's no way you can't go on there without somebody going, this is what these guys are saying to do. Because if you have this set automatically, that if it comes out of your mouth, it's automatically advice. It can't just be data. It can't just be statistics. It can't be, nothing can be just delivered. Sort of like, here's some data for you to look at. Okay. Nothing can be set. Nothing can be given to you without somebody going, well, the reason why you're telling me this is because you're telling me that this is the best way to live my life. Okay. So when I'm watching Brendan Carter and I'm watching all this going on, and I'm looking at like guys that I know and guys that you know as well. And when these are the guys who are like saying, be on your game, do this, do that. They're the ones that are giving this advice. All I'm doing is saying, hey, look, maybe you should not focus on family. Maybe you should not get married. I mean, I don't know why that's big.
Maybe advice.
I'm not saying it's advice. What I'm saying is that is this so over the fucking top that everybody wants to take it out of context, which is exactly what you guys have been doing.
So what is it? Can you tell me what that tweet was if it wasn't advice?
It's not advice. What it is it's okay. It's saying that this is the most extreme way to do things. So if I told you this, look, if I said the quickest way for you to make $1 million,
that sounds like advice.
Is to go steal it from the bank or go to steal it.
See, this analogy would make a lot of sense but it wouldn't at the same time, because nobody would ever tell you, hey, you want to make $1 million? Go steal it from a bank. If he were to say that this is satire, that this tweet was satire, then you would kind of believe it. But he's trying to make this tweet look like it's a hyperbolic, exaggerated tweet to try to drive attention to high value or whatever, right? And he's out here saying that, you know, if I tell someone the fastest way to get $1 million is to steal it, well, that would make sense for this analogy, but who the hell would say that? Why would you write that in a tweet? Why would you give a list of reasons of the fastest way to do something, but you're not recommending it to do? And you'll see later on in the video, they actually go over every single bullet point, and they say, this all makes sense. The only thing that doesn't is vasectomies. And why can't you just roll back on it? It's just Rollo is just too prideful. The red pill is just too prideful. They will never go back on what they say. You see it time and time again. Myron is so set on his beliefs, and it never changes his beliefs. So even if Destiny throws statistics at him, and I don't even agree with Destiny like that, but they'll never sway from their beliefs.
Does that mean I'm telling you to go steal it? If I tell you to go fucking jump off a cliff, are you going to go jump off a cliff? Right, by the way, here's the other thing is I'm also responding to Dr. Richard Reeves in this as well.
Okay, there's a lot of context about it, sure. But all the rest of the list, you're equating vasectomy to lifting, game, play to your strength, resisting up on easing your focus. The rest of it sounds like general advice.
Okay, well let's say so let me ask you. So is it the vasectomy part that's throwing you off?
Really genuine good advice, right? The rest of it.
So is it the vasectomy part?
Yeah.
Here's the reason why I really think that the vasectomies part is really bad advice, especially when you say vasectomies in your 20s. Vasectomies are designed, and Sneako says this quite frequently throughout the live, and it's completely correct. Vasectomies are not meant to be reversed, although they can be. Doesn't mean they were meant to be. Okay, you could wake up one morning and you just recently got a vasectomy, and you could wake up one morning and say, "Dang, I made a mistake." You can possibly get that reversed, and the reversal rate diminishes as time goes on. Okay, I could probably throw up some stats here, but when it comes to at least around like 10 years or so, the reversal rate is right around like 30%, and that is with including fertility as well. I believe you can reverse a vasectomy and you could be non-fertile. So you could technically reverse a vasectomy, you would just be non-fertile. And what Sneako's really big, I guess, problem is you're basically telling a lot of these kids, they're 20 years old, they are just experiencing manhood for the first time. They think they're about to get so much sex, so much promiscuity, and they'll get a vasectomy and they won't have to worry about kids. Well, down the road, when you do want to settle down and have kids, that is going to be a problem throughout. And we can go back to this clip here about Destiny kind of throwing it in the face of Myron and saying that it wouldn't make any sense to get a vasectomy after 3 years, because Myron's whole philosophy is that have kids in your 30s and 40s, and recommending a vasectomy to a guy in your 20s would require you to have a vasectomy at least for about maybe 6, 7, even 10 years until you are 30 years old, and then reverse your vasectomy, in which it has a 30% reversal rate. So check this out.
Yeah, to get it reversed and be able to actually
after like 10 years, it's like 30 to 50%.
Yeah, but
your 20s is 10 years.
You're supposed to to reverse it back within the 10
Well,
years.
wait, hold on, wait.
your
So you're gonna
20s to
get
10 years.
vasectomy at you're gonna get a vasectomy at 20, become high value by 23, and then get it reversed? Like what?
I mean, I wouldn't say 23. You're being extreme as usual.
Well, he said your
yeah.
20s. That's 10 years.
Yeah, but you can do it, but when you're 28, 29. At that
So,
point,
so 9 years. What is it? 45% chance of reversal, bro. You're not gonna have kids anymore.
You're sterilizing half your audience. That's just wild to me.
hold on.
Do you agree with pretty much everything else except for the vasectomy part?
The first three is weird because then I don't even know what the red pill idea of a high value man is. Is it just being rich? Like, what's the point of having all this money and not having a family? Why be that rich? The guy who's always grinding. Whoa, Brandon Carter doesn't have to do his laundry. Sick. What else are you going to do with your life?
Right.
Exactly.
Right. Maybe this is actually meant so that you'll get it. You'll have a
Sneako
freaking
is on a
epiphany
arc,
about
a
how
character arc.
all the shit that you have to sacrifice to get to that in the first place. What are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to live the kind of life, let's say, like a Brandon Carter is, where you're going to outsource your entire life? Or are you going to actually have kids? Is that something that's a priority for you? Because I will tell you right now that if you follow this kind, if you were to actually follow this list right here, that is the fastest way for you to get to a point where you are more high value, right? But here's the thing. So when I say that, people go, well, that's not what a high value man is. A high value man is what I define it as, which is he's got to have a good, loving, devoted wife.
You won't be high value when you're in your 30s and you're infertile and you're the wife you decide to, I guess, crown as your wife, as red pillars would like to describe as, that one that you choose won't see you as high value if you can't give them a child. So
He's got to have 3 or 4 kids or 10 kids, depending on whatever culture you're talking about. All of this stuff that makes up whatever that person who happens to have that is, then that's suddenly the definition of what a high value man is. So
I also make an appearance in this live stream. Stick with me with that. I also make an appearance.
I'm saying this is the best way to become a high value man. I'm not saying this is the only way to become a high value man. I'm just saying that this is the fastest way to go and do something like that.
We've been talking a lot for 5 minutes. What is your definition of a high value man?
Oh, we are going to get into this. This is what Rollo completely falls down the cliff on, where a lot of people after this video is going to go viral. Their live stream is going to go viral because this completely exposes not only Red Pill but Rollo Tomassi individually, and it really exposes the contradictory sort of nature of Red Pill and all of its space. So this question really proves that.
It doesn't matter. That's not what I was talking about in this.
It doesn't matter.
Isn't it what you're talking about? That's what the first part of the tweet is: how to become a high value man.
The fastest way to become a high value man is to recognize the fact that you've got sacrifices to make. Okay.
So what is that?
Telling like stories from Vietnam. Like, just say, what is a high value man? It's the first part of the tweet. What does that mean?
You tell me what a high value man is. Because here's the thing: is it doesn't matter what I'm going to say is a high value man. You guys are fucking
because it's your tweet.
It doesn't matter what I say is a high value man, because everybody takes this. The point of the tweet is that everybody is going to take this and then insert their own definition of what a high value man is.
What if a high value man is having 12 kids when you're 16? Then your tweet doesn't work, does it? What if your definition of a high value man is being getting into a trade and having 5 kids by the time you're 22? Then it also high value man is being an esports professional.
You're absolutely making my point for me right here. Okay, this is what I'm saying.
My point is that high value man. You gave a list of 8 things. Do these 8 things to become a high value man. Do 1 through 8 to become A, and you're not defining what A is.
The fastest way to becoming a high value man is these things.
What is that?
Okay? So here's the thing. So if we're talking about family creation, we already talked. Okay, so you want to go? Okay, let's go one by one. You want to go one by one? Okay,
no,
so
I want to go before one by one. What is a high value man?
We can't have an argument if I don't even know what your definition
is. The very fact that you're even asking this in the first place is the actual. Okay, so if you're going to be a high value man with the fucking hands tied behind your back, then what is that? What does that mean to you? That's the point. This whole discussion is the point.
I just want to let you guys know, how is what Rollo Tomassi is saying, how is that any different than from what the LGBTQ says about what is a woman? Like, this is the same people that will clown women on not being able to define what a woman is, but in the same token, you can't define what a high value man is, and you're running around in circles using circular arguments saying, well, it's pretty fluid. It's whatever you want it to believe. And Destiny completely destroys that argument too. It's like, it looks exactly like I'm watching the Matt Walsh documentary on, all right, so what is a high value man? Oh, well, a high value man is whatever you want it to be, whatever you consider it to be. When everyone knows they have their own personal beliefs, like in their heart, they just don't want to say it, or they actually don't even know what it is, or they don't know what it is. Same thing when Matt Walsh made that documentary. These people didn't know what a woman was. They didn't know how to describe a woman. This man, Rollo Tomassi, the Grand Master of the Red Pill, cannot define what a high value man is.
The fucking tweet. You guys?
One of the tweet was, "You've got some conception of a high value man. Here are 8 points that you think you need to do to get to it, and now you're getting blown the fuck up on the vasectomy thing, which you probably realize is fucking retarded. But you're too old and stubborn to walk back from it. That's the point of this conversation."
I'm not too stubborn
Bingo.
to walk back from it, because the point of it was to get douche nozzles like yourself to have this conversation in the first place.
How old are you, bro?
Douche nozzle.
Douche nozzles?
Yes, you guys are idiots. Why you guys come in here from Twitch stream? Like, how you guys are legitimate
He
in
is
all this?
triggered right now.
I don't know,
For
because
being the
everything I've heard come
Grandmaster,
out of you
he's
guys' mouth is
triggered.
just confident ignorance.
I'm
That's
asking,
all I can from this.
no, Myron. Okay, I'm not asking you like in terms of the debate. You call yourself the godfather of the Red Pill.
I call myself the godfather of the manosphere, okay? Other people have called me that.
Okay, great. That's very.
Do you understand?
You see his lip
so
twitch?
as that,
Godfather or grandfather of the man? Which one is it?
whatever it is, the old guy of the manosphere. What is your definition of high value man? This is the number
It's a
one
simple
talked about
question
topic
to
on
ask.
all of these shows. So I want to get a clear definition from you.
The fair and
What is
simple
it?
question.
You tell again. It depends on the person. It depends on the culture. Depends on the. So here's the thing. Let me tell you. Maybe I can explain this to you, Sneako, because at least you got your ears open here. The thing is that when we're talking about what's the top G, what's a high value guy, you probably haven't heard this because you don't read my stuff and you don't watch my shit.
No.
But I've also said this is like the red pill has to be for everybody, or it's for nobody. So if we're looking at a guy who's draped across a Lamborghini and he's got hot chicks with him, and we say that's what I'm aspiring to, but I'll never make that because I live in a fishing village on the coast of Chile, right? That means I can never match that high apex of a high value guy.
The guy in the car?
But the guy who happens to live in those villages or happens to be in a different culture or in a different country or whatever else, he can still benefit from that because however he's defining himself as a high value man in his fishing village, maybe that's what he can aspire.
This completely knocks down what everyone else's perception of a high value man is, because Rollo's saying this and it makes a lot of sense, but that is not what he portrays in his philosophy. That is not what especially Fresh and Fit portray in their philosophy, because their envisionment, their viewpoint of what a high value man is a guy with a lot of Bugattis and a lot of crypto wizards and stuff like that, and a guy with a lot of girls around him. And obviously this viewpoint or this perception of how many cars you have, how many girls you have next to you is kind of a ranking on how much of a high value man you are. Now, what Rollo Tomassi, what he's saying is correct, is being a high value man can differ based on where you are culturally, socioeconomically, anywhere you are in any sort of biome or country or whatever continent. It's all going to, or society, you're all going to differ on what a high value man is. A high value man in, I guess, corporate, Silicon Valley is much different than what a high value man would be in Nebraska, like where Destiny's from, or North Dakota, or somewhere extremely more rural. It can be very, very different. A high value man, in my opinion, is a guy that is a father and a husband first. In my opinion, I think a high value man is a guy who is a father and husband first, will do anything to take care of his family by any means, and that includes making the money, right? I sympathize and I get that Red Pill really wants to emphasize guys to focus and get your money and focus on yourself and do better for yourself as a man, but that should also turn into being a good father, being a good husband, being a good human being, not being so cynical and negative and aggressive. You can be manly, you can be masculine, you could be even aggressive, you can be firm, you can have a very firm standpoint on who you are as a man. Doesn't mean you need to treat women like trash and as much as Red Pill don't like to say it, they do treat women like they're trash. They say they're not the same, they are not equal, which in a very, very small way I agree with, but not into the degree that they do. I believe that gender roles exist, but as modern America or the modern world keeps advancing, where women are working too, they're getting their own education, where obviously women are able to do a lot of other things that they weren't able to do in the past, that is becoming more of a lesser thing, like the women being in charge of cleaning and cooking and stuff like that. That should be a shared responsibility now. It shouldn't be one or the other, but it should be a shared responsibility now that women are working. In my past experience, my father and my mother worked at the same times doing this kind of the same job. They were, on the phone in cubicles, and they worked 2 states away. I lived in Pennsylvania. They worked in New York. They would have to take the March bus at 5 o'clock in the morning to go to New York and come back around 8 p.m. And my father was the high value man who made like $200K a year, and he would stay upstairs in his room, not talk to anybody. And the kids and my mom would sit downstairs and eat amongst ourselves, and we had to serve his food upstairs like he was some king on the throne. And let me tell you right now, nobody talks to my father now. Now that we're all adults, my mom left him. Nobody talks to my father now, because he was just not a good father. He was very focused on his money. He didn't like to spend money on his kids. And although we lived in a nice house, we lived in a nice community, we went to a nice school. It was a public school, but it still went to a nice school in a nice area. All those things are nice, and we appreciate those things, but being a father comes first. Like, you have to actually make the effort to be a father. Talk to your kids, talk to your wife, have that relationship with your wife where your wife is your best friend. These people don't understand because they haven't lived it. I lived it. My dad was a high value man, and he considered himself very red pill as such. And well, that was before, obviously, these things even came to became an ideology, but his nature was very red pill. My father's nature was very, very red pill. And although, he loves his kids, he didn't show that love by even talking to us or even having the decency to just sit down with your family and eat. Like, that's not something that he felt like he needed to do. He felt like since he provided the house, he found that nice place to live in Pennsylvania where we didn't have a worry about the world, about crime, because we're coming from New York, coming from the Bronx and stuff like that. He moved us out to Pennsylvania. That was good enough. You kids should be thankful, and I don't need to really be a father anymore. My mom was taking care of basically 4 kids, and 2 of them were her stepkids, basically on her own, raising them on her own. My dad was just there on the weekends, and other than that, he couldn't be bothered to talk to anybody. So that's a little bit about myself and why the red pill really is destructive to a family in the future. It could be good for a person, for a guy, building up his wealth and eventually trying to be that family man, but you have to be a family man when it happens. You have to be a family man when it happens. And how are you going to learn how to be a father doing all this stuff, focusing on your money and treating women like they are just some trophy that you have, and that you can have them in and out your house whenever you please, in and out your life whenever you please. And it's ridiculous.
It has nothing to do with Chile and the village and the car.
Here's the thing: is you guys want me to say, okay, a high value man makes $100,000 a year. He's fucked 50 chicks. He's got that's the thing.
That's not what I want you to say. I disagree with that. I'm asking you because I come on this all the time.
Disagree with it. What I'm saying is the point of the tweet is so you will ask that question.
I'm past the tweet. I'm past that. Look, I'm asking as somebody who's really interested in the red pill. I listen to a lot of this content. I want to know what your definition is, because if you have a definition that's completely off of what I think it is, then I guess I'm not red pill.
Well, here's what I think guys ought to do. Would you like me to give you some prescriptions? Is that what we're trying for here?
No, I want to know your opinion of a high value man. What is it?
I think a high value man is whatever is contextually makes that guy a high value guy in whatever culture that he happens to be in. If that's money, that's money. Right now, that's what we tend to focus on right now. But if I'm going to say that,
value man is a guy that has the things that makes him a high value man.
All right,
Again, this would all make sense besides the vasectomy part, because vasectomies, if you cannot reverse your vasectomy and you become infertile, you inherently become less valuable as a man. You cannot reproduce. Like, I don't know how else to explain that. I feel like a lot of people aren't understanding that's where Sneako was coming from. You really have to think about that. If you get a vasectomy in your 20s, you can be as promiscuous as you can. I guess that makes you more high value by, having sex with as much women as possible. I don't know how that makes you more high value, but you can do that. But when you get into your 30s and you decide to reverse your vasectomy and you find out you're infertile, that in turn makes you less valuable.
High value could mean, in your sense, whatever that means to you.
No, it doesn't.
What?
That's what he's saying.
No, he's not. He doesn't know because he doesn't have a good definition. Because he knows if he says anything, he's going to get pinned
You sound
down
like the
on
girls who believe they're a 10 because they describe themselves as a 10 in the mirror.
If you brought in some
You're
loser,
missing the point.
and he's like, I'm high value because I'm the manager at my McDonald's, you probably wouldn't agree that he's high value.
Is that when he says high value, you're going to determine that as a man. What does that mean for you?
The absolute white knighting from Fresh and Fit is ridiculous here. They know what Rollo is saying is just a losing argument. They have to agree with him and be as agreeable as possible because they're followers. As much as they say that they're leaders and they're rah and they're high value men, there's still a hierarchy of things. And Rollo considers himself the grand wizard of the red pill. They are going to follow what he says. They read his books and all that. They're fangirling for him. So that's what it is. Let's skip to my appearance on Fresh and Fit.
To you, that might be important, but to me, it's not. That's not everything.
What's a key component missing from what I said?
is a high value guy the guy that marries somebody from a foreign country and brings her over here so she can get citizenship? Because that's your family dynamic. My family dynamic is.
Yo, it's crazy because he just disrespected a lot of people who believe in red pill, passport bros, right? Oh my God. He just literally took a shot at passport bros, and Fresh and Fit love passport bros, and I believe a lot of these red pill guys love because they feel like, oh, with the Western women, they are not wifey material, so I'm going to get my wife from freaking Indonesia and Singapore and all these other foreign countries that really are more where men are in control, and then I'm going to bring them to over here. I mean, you see it all the time in like 90 Day Fiance and stuff like that. Okay, he really just took a shot. And it's funny because Rollo asked that question as if it was a gotcha question, but I'm pretty sure even Fresh and Fit would say, yeah, that could be a high value man. I mean, you're going out and being a passport bro and getting a wife from another country and bringing her over here, and yeah, that can make you high value. You know, she's gonna cook and clean for you. She doesn't need to work. You know, that could constitute for a lot of people as high value. And I think Rollo is really. He's so high on this hierarchy where he doesn't see a lot of these viewpoints from other red pill people. And I guess a lot of red pill people don't really know Rollo's viewpoint as much as they think they do. Because Fresh and Fit would definitely say that getting a girl from another country and bring her over here to get her green card would be high value. Would be high value because you are in control. She doesn't need to work and she's going to cook and clean for you and have your children and just shut up and be silent. You know, so he's so far stretched out of reality. So here is my my appearance on Fresh and Fit, and it's a super chat. Yes, I donated $50, and I also did another $50 in another thing. I make money. Okay, I'm a high value guy. What can I say? I make money. $50 is chump change. But yeah, I access from my sports account, so you're gonna see here a different username. But yeah.
Guys, let me hit these chats real fast.
And we got another show coming up.
Yeah, we got another show coming up. I'm going to go through this real fast. All right, so we got Kid Blue RB goes, Rollo dodging the defining a high value man is like the LGBT dodging what a woman is. Feels like I'm watching Matt Walsh's documentary right now. You're the grandmaster of RP. You out of all people should be able to define what a high value man is.
He can't define high value male, but he can define us as douche nozzles.
All right, let me move.
And that's the big crux of it. It's you are the grandmaster of red pill. You are the person that everybody looks for. Like, you are the guy, right? You're the guy, right? You're supposed to be the guy. the basic fundamental, it should be in your mission statement. The basic fundamental definition you would have to be able to define is what a high value man is. If your whole existence on the internet is becoming a high value man and giving advice to high value men and how to become one, you should be able to define that. You can't sit here and say that a high value man is whatever you perceive it to be, because you will go up to all these women who consider themselves 10 out of 10s and rag on them for thinking as such, because you would rag on their mindset and saying, oh, well, just because you feel beautiful and you feel like you bring a lot to the table doesn't mean that you actually do. And they are right in that. But they also have to look within themselves and say a high value man isn't because of what you perceive to be a high value man. There has to be a standard. And when Rollo was defining what he was saying, that Ben Shapiro was not a high value man, Steven Crowder was not a high value man, he gave a couple of examples, and Destiny pushed him on it. He said, you know, then that means you obviously have a standard. If you're saying that these guys are not high value men, then that means you should have a standard on what a high value man is. And he just couldn't bring it out of him. And it seemed like Myron had a better idea or definition, because there was nothing from Rollo's side, and he was kind of white knighting for Rollo. I don't even think Rollo agrees with Myron's definition. But that's all I got for you guys today. Make sure you guys hit that like button, and if you guys want to see more content like this, hit that subscribe button, and leave a comment on what other stuff you guys want me to talk about next. If you guys like my viewpoints, be sure to leave it in the comment section below. If you guys dislike it, I would had no problem in debating that. I'm gonna be reacting to another Fresh and Fit episode. One I could probably talk about most, and so can't wait to do that. And thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.